Hey, good morning to you. What's happening? You got eyes on Smash Bros Radio. Good morning to everyone on YouTube. Morning to everybody on Instagram. Good morning to everybody on Facebook. You listen to Eyes on Smash Bros Radio. If you have not done, do so. Please go like, follow Smash Bros Radio. Smash Bros Radio is the only digital radio station located in Birmingham, Jefferson County, which means that we are heard everywhere. If you have a Facebook page, if you have the app, no matter where you are, you can hear us. So if you are an independent artist, if you're not an independent artist, if you are an artist that wants to get your stuff heard, Smash Bros Radio is a place to come. If you have goods, if you have services, if you have announcements, if you have events, if you have whatever occasions, Smash Bros Radio is the one to get in touch with because we are heard worldwide. Can you believe that? Hello. Good morning to you. First day of summer, as if it did not know. Hey, we'd like to give a shout out to Kid Trouble, the drummer boy, Jock Keish, also known as Jada Snoop, and Queen Richardson, who are the winners of the Smash Bros Radio Talent Search. They are going to be entertaining at the 8th Annual Alabama Music Award, which is July 24th, which is a Sunday at 2 to 5 p.m. So congratulations to them. We appreciate you coming out. Listen, all we can do is give you a venue, give you an avenue, give you a way, a channel to showcase yourself, to showcase your craft. That's all we can do. We can't make you do it. So if you are an independent artist and you don't have the funds, or if you don't have the means, if you don't have the sponsors or whatever, Smash Bros Radio is the one to come to. The attendance was fantastic. Personally, I think it should have been much more because we have an abundance of talent in Birmingham that needs to be showcased. Now, I understand that, y'all want to be heard on a larger, but you cannot get a larger stage than Smash Bros Radio. Again, as I've stated before, Smash Bros Radio is a digital radio station. So if you have our app, if you have Facebook, if you have YouTube, you can hear us. You can see us. So if you are an independent artist, also the founder of Smash Bros Radio, one of the founders, Ralph DJ Play Some, has a show, Smash House, on Saturdays, in which you can showcase your songs, your craft. Also on Saturdays, I think at 1 you have the live review in which you can send in your tapes and it will be put on live. So see, we provide everything for you to make you the best, to get you to be the best, to get your stuff out there. All we can do is introduce it to you. It's left up to you to accept it or not. So, but again, we appreciate everyone coming out Saturday. Again, congratulations to Kid Trouble, Jacques Keish, also known as Jada Snoop, and Queen Richardson. We look forward to seeing you at the 8th Annual Alabama Music Awards. So check them out. Check them out. Check them out. Also, tickets are on sale. You can go to 8th Annual Alabama Music Awards place and get information on the tickets and all. So it is what it is. Also, coming up. The Man's Project Influence Today for Better Tomorrow is having its annual mentoring camping trip June 24th through the 26th. It's going to be at Oak Mountain State Park. Cost is $5 for campers. For more information, you can contact Richard Cade at 205-476-20. My eyes ain't focusing. 2653, 205-476-2653. Also, you can register at eventbrite.com. So that is the Man's Project Influence Today for a Better Tomorrow, the annual camping trip, Oak Mountain State Park, $5 per person, Eventbrite. So please, if you have not donate, please donate. Please, we appreciate you. Also, while I'm on it, if you have Smash Bros Radio, OZZz, and the other programs are looking for sponsors and looking for donators and donations, and you can, if you have advertisement that you would want, you can contact our marketing department and come up, and they will come up with a plan on what we can do for you. So please keep in mind that you have a larger stage, which means that you are where your services are introduced to a larger venue than any other station. So we appreciate you. Appreciate you. There's a lot going on. I think we have 1 week left before the World Games. Behind the scenes, some things are happening that is not very good for our image, not very good for the status of the mayor. It could be handled better, could be handled differently. Homelessness is a problem that all major cities are combating or having to deal with. And so, because of the nature of the beast, we have the tendency of looking down on the less fortunate, which is really unfortunate. So, and I understand the marketing part, I understand the image part, because you have a tremendous amount of individuals coming probably much for the first time to venture into Birmingham, and we want to put on the good light, and that's all well and good. But at the same time, understand, when you have an enclosure, a fence enclosure, that at the top is barbed wire, that image is that of a concentration camp. And it's the same way as I stated yesterday. It's the same way when it came to the Japanese Americans, when they were forced out of their homes and they were put in the desert behind the fence with barbed wire. So the mayor thinks that it must be Christian-like to put homeless individuals behind this fenced enclosure with barbed wire, and then to furnish them with A-frame housing that looks like a chicken coop that does not have any furnishings in it, much less has any type of air conditioning for them. Now, anybody who knows anything about an enclosure, A-frame enclosure, and especially in the heat and the humidity of Alabama, knows that if there is no type of air circulating, it is going to be a hot box. So like a sauna. So for this Christian man to put the less fortunate behind these fence enclosures and these A-frame buildings that have not yet been approved, nor have the permits been approved, allegedly, I found that atrocious. And instead of what I understand, and allegedly, instead of answering questions and answering calls and all, he would rather be on Facebook posting stuff about concerts and stuff. And as I have stated numerous times before, you voted for him. You voted for this captivating, entertaining, charisma type individual. And there's nothing wrong with that type of personality as long as you understand what your responsibility is as a mayor. You're acting like a frat boy. You know, yes, you're still in the fraternity, but all that play should be gone. You would think that after surviving COVID, that some type of maturity level would have been much more created or enhanced, but yet there's no maturity there. No maturity there. But yet, your behind is in the face and in the camera, photoshopping, photo opping with all these celebrities. But what about Birmingham? What about the constituents of Birmingham? But you voted for them, and I agree with you. Who are you going to vote for? Who was the less of the two evils? Were you going to vote for Ray Ray, or were you going to vote for Shay Shay? Now, when you look at it in the bigger picture, even though Shay Shay is questionable, her actions are questionable, because see, with LaShondra Scales, when she does things for individuals, she comes with chains and snares. There's a motive behind everything she does. And I know this because I've known her since the first time she ran for the council. So, but I would rather have her because she knows how to do things. Listen, you can say whatever you want to, and I will, about Shay Shay. But she knows how to get things done. She's not scared of the white folks. And if I were to ever run for an office or ever need a public relations firm, I would go to her because she is good at her craft. She's excellent. She's a master of her craft. She knows how to throw up the smoke screen. She knows how to throw up the mirrors. She knows how to put twists on things. And that's what a public relations office or representative is supposed to do for you. I know that they're doing their jobs, and they're doing their jobs real well. I understand. I know most of the individuals. You can't get a better team, and that's when you are a leader, you surround yourself with individuals that can get the job done, and done well, that's polished, that's smooth. Because you, as a leader, you can take credit for it. But everybody knows that you had a good team that was backing you, that was on the same page, that was moving towards making sure Birmingham. Because there's nothing per se wrong with Birmingham. It's just the leaders of Birmingham. It's just the leaders. And we have got to quit voting for popularity, and we have to start voting on integrity and also receipts. We have elections today. Just because someone's father is a preacher, just because they are a preacher, just because their father works for this and that, that does not mean they're going to be a good representative for your district. And everybody knows which preachers are whores. Everybody knows, but you don't say anything. If the preacher is doing what the preacher is supposed to be doing, in the district, in the community, in the church, technically it's nobody's business as long as he's doing his job. But if he isn't doing his job and he has that position because of the title and he doesn't want the responsibility and he is still a whore, well, then you deserve everything that you get. We have what I call name brands that are in the council. And name brands are those individuals whose relatives or the daddies, the mamas, were on the council. But they don't have the integrity. They don't have the tenacity. They don't have the motivation. They do not have the determination to make sure that their neighborhood or their district is run properly. Just because the parents were superb, just because the parents were on board, just because the parents were community stewards, does not mean that the child is going to be that. That's why you need to get rid of the name brands. You need to get rid of the old goat, the old lady down there, and you need to get rid of them white folks. Instead of what it said. See, you, we're looking at 20 in a bigger picture. We're looking at 20 years of changes to come. No wonder I say 20 years. Okay, let's look at it. First, we had the orange tangerine idiot. We had him for 4 years. Then, before he left, we had COVID. Now, understand, remember when I was telling you that if you surround yourself with individuals who are competent, who know what they're doing? But see, if the orange tangerine idiot had common sense, has some type of integrity, has some type of character, he would have used that manual that President Obama had created that was dealing with pandemics, because people that failed to realize during Obama's administration, there were 3 pandemics. But because of Obama having individuals around him that were competent to handle these pandemics, we didn't know we had a pandemic. And that's how it's supposed to be run. So if the orange tangerine idiot had followed the manual, then he could have taken credit for it. He takes credit for everything else, so why come you can't take credit there? But no, he didn't want to do that. So because of his reluctance, because of his stupidity, because of his lack of having integrity and having character, and surrounding himself with idiots, we are where we are. So when you deal with that idiot, then you deal with COVID. That's why we're where we are now. But understand that in the bigger picture, it was for the best, because these changes were going to come, but they were going to come later. But because of inconsistencies, we have it now. If you would check history out, during history, pandemics or crises or whatever came in spurts. It didn't come all at once. You had the Dust Bowl. You had the Great Depression. You had the smallpox. You had polio. You had all of these in spurts. But we weren't given that option. Everything was thrown at us all at once, and it scared us to death, and rightfully so. If the situation was handled properly, correctly, the government could have closed the nation down. It could have provided financial assistance, just like with those stimulus checks. The government could offer every family a check every month to handle whatever that family had to do. They could have given small loans to these independent businesses. But when you have a family and you have children, even the most peaceful individual is going to all of a sudden become this irrational, because you have a family. How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to pay the mortgage? How am I going to pay these bills? You have all of this coming down on an individual all at once. The government was irresponsible when it came to its citizens. It was irresponsible. It was negligent in its handling. Because if you can send billions of dollars over to Israel, if you can send billions of dollars to the Ukraine, there is no reason under this sun that you could not have used money to help every family in the United States out. You could have eased their minds. Because when you have all this stress, you're not thinking rationally. You're not thinking rationally. Because you don't have time to think rationally. You're thinking about your children. You're thinking about your responsibility as a parent. So you have 20 years of change that's going to come, which means that at 62 years old, at 82 years old, am I going to be able to witness a better America, an America that is ready for the 22nd century? Or am I going to see an America that has gone back to the 18th, and 19th, and 20th century? Because change is coming. They're just prolonging it. When you continue to have the same old men, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants in the Senate, thinking their old-fashioned ways, when you see the Karens being more prominent, when you see Trump's name being used as an endorsement, and people are proud to be endorsed by this idiot, that shows you right there. 20 years. Look at the Alabama elections. You have Katie, whatever the little woman's name is. She approves being Trump. She's pleased to be backed by Trump. She's going to put up Trump's wall. She's going to I don't know what Alabama values are. I'm 11th generation of an Alabamian. My folks traveled from George Churchill Humes traveled from Virginia, Bowling Green, Virginia. Look it up, Google it. Bowling Green, Virginia. Traveled down here to Brewton, Alabama. You can't get any more Alabamian than me. So please tell me what Alabama values are. Because the definition that this Katie and these other Republicans are coming up with are not my values. They're not my values. I don't believe in Trump. I don't believe in MAGNA. The United States was never a great nation. Let's be realistic, individual. Let's be realistic. This country was built on the backs of slaves. This country was built out of blood, out of rape, out of brutality, out of lies, out of thievery, out of robbery. But yet, a certain group do not want the true history to be taught because they're scared of critical race theory. And again, all critical race theory is teaching history. That's all it is. It's teaching history. It's not, let me tell you, the only reason why these white folks don't want critical race theories taught is because they're scared that the grandchildren and great-grandchildren are going to find out that their precious little grandmama was one of these bitches that would spit, that would throw rocks, that would have picnics when a black was being hung or being burned. Can you believe that? I cannot fathom people having picnics as if it's a celebration and you're going to watch an individual being hung or being burned. And you're having a picnic and you're bringing your children. And then it brings them to mind, why is a woman that lied on Emmett Till still walking around without any type of conviction? Why is she still living? She lied. She was an accessory. See, that's why you see all these 20 years. Because you have to deal with the past. See, Birmingham is a prime example. Because you still have those same mentalities that were there during Reverend Shuttlesworth's days. And Birmingham doesn't want to face the fact You have the house and you have the fields. It is what it is. It's a raw truth. Now, you could expedite the 20 years if you would take time, put your emotions in check, pull on your big boy's pants, and know that you are going to be struck with reality. You're going to be slapped with it, and it's going to wake you up. Because that's the only way that change is going to come, is when we are honest with our past actions and reactions. I went through therapy. When I went to the University of South Carolina, I had to find me a therapist because I had to find out what was wrong with me. Because every time I was being successful and I was going up I was traveling up the ladder, I was sabotaging myself, and I had to find out what is wrong with me. Why am I always doing this sabotage? Why am I doing this? And so with the initial visit, and really it was an interview for the therapist to find out if she wanted to take me on as a client. She asked me, she said, if you are willing to look at yourself raw, to look at yourself in the mirror and see the actual individual that you are and not what you perceive yourself to be, and you can handle the truth and be honest, be raw, be bluntly, be bold, then I help you. But if you cannot come clean, if you cannot honestly be truthful to yourself, then I can't help you. And I said, I have to. So I had to look at myself. I had to see the insecurity that I have. And I had to look at those insecurities face to face. And I had to face the fact that this is who I am, but I can be better. And yeah, it hurt. Oh, it hurt like hell. And yes, I cried. But it was a cleansing cry. It wasn't a self-pity. It was a cleansing cry because I was able to see myself in the raw, naked, that I had these insecurities. And there's nothing wrong with having the insecurities because of the environment in which I was brought up in. But I was able to look at those insecurities. I was able to be bluntly raw and bold enough to accept what I really was. And I found out that I was jealous of my success. I was ashamed of my success because I felt that my sister should be in the same place I was. But it can't be. It can't be. Though we have the same parents, we are three different entities. We're three different individuals. And though we have gone, well, me and Tammy went through the same, because Tammy's 3 years younger than me, our perception is going to be different. And as long as Tammy and Alicia were happy, were content in the place that they were, well, it was none of my business. Didn't matter that I had these degrees. Didn't matter that I had graduated from high school. Wasn't important. I wanted to graduate. I wanted to be a teacher. And there's nothing wrong with that. And those of you who come from large families will understand that, because in your large family, your siblings probably are not on the same the tier as what everyone is. The family isn't on the same level or whatever, but you still come together as a group, and you still have that camaraderie, that confidence, that the congratulatorial. They're proud of your successes. So that's why it's going to take 20 years, because there are certain groups that do not want to face the fact that you were some low down sons of bitches. Birmingham's not ready for that, because if the truth were to be known, if the truth were to come to the light, then there would be families that have built their reputation on lies. And it could be devastating for some members of the family to know or to find out that their great aunts, uncles weren't as active, weren't as actively involved in the campaign as what they lied about. From what I gathered from what Reverend Shuttlesworth told me, there was a lot of uneasiness from a lot of pastors because most of their congregation worked for the white folks. They didn't want any trouble. They thought that, well, you're stirring the pot. You're creating mess. Before Reverend King came, before his invitation was given to him from Reverend Shuttlesworth, Reverend Shuttlesworth had already 7+ years under his belt before he invited Dr. King to Birmingham. And that should be known too. King did not come to Birmingham on his own. King was invited by Reverend Shuttlesworth, because Reverend Shuttlesworth was aware that if King were to come to Birmingham, he would bring the media with him. He would bring the camera. Because, see, that's one thing that was still brand new. The camera, the television. That's one thing that helped with the Vietnam War. Because no one would believe the travesties that were going on here in Birmingham. They would not know about the dogs being used. They would not know about the fire hoses being used. $20 years. 20 years. But if you would sit back and pay attention, during the elections, there are usually 3 issues that are brought forth. You have immigration, you have abortion, and you have guns. Those 3 hot subjects. Those are the 3 hot subjects. But see, those really are not the issues that are facing us. The Senate is having meetings now talking about either doing away with Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, or fixing it. The Republicans want to do away with Social Security because they call it an entitlement. Do you not understand how many Americans will be affected that if Social Security was changed? Then you have Wade versus V. Roe. 50 years. But it's not an issue. You have veterans that are homeless that are not receiving the benefits that are rightfully theirs. You have the elderly. You have children. Now the Republicans say that they for family, but when it comes to the family, they don't have any solutions. So okay, so this woman has this baby. Okay, who's going to take care of the baby? Who's going to take care of the baby? Where are the social services for the baby? So see, you have 20 years that you're going to deal with all these issues. 20 years. And again, it could be expedited if we would sit down and talk face to face, being blatantly truthful and raw with what has transpired over the years. There's only one race, and that's the human race. That's the only race you have is the human race. I don't understand this. What's the word? This type of mentality that just because someone has a darker pigmentation is less than I am. When, if you look at history, everything that we have, 98% of everything that we have, that we utilize, was created by the black race. While Africa in the Middle East knew about all these marketplaces and everyone was trading, Europe was living in the Dark Ages. And understand the Dark Ages is the same thing as the Middle Ages. It's one and the same. It's different. It's a different name depending on who teaches you. But the Dark Ages is more descriptive when it comes because the individuals were living in the dark more so than what the people across the Mediterranean Sea were. And if it hadn't been for the Moors, they would still be in the dark. And see, we don't even give the credit, we don't give the acknowledgement, we don't give the recognition to the Moors. Most people don't even know who the Moors were or are because the Moors are still with us. It was because of the Moors introducing to the Dark Ages that they were brought into light. "20 years is going to take. 20 years, which means that if you have a child that is 10, at 30 years old, the child will be, hopefully, change will be ready. Change will be here for the 22nd century. When the individuals in the Senate have been replaced with fresh, new individuals, youth, younger individuals, then you're going to see a change. 20 years. 20 years. Now, will I be around? Possibly. My folks live long lives. It's left to you as parents. It's left to you as grandparents to make sure that you equip your legacies with the proper materials and knowledge that is going to be required for them. It's left up to you. If you have not sat down with your white friends or your black friends and you have not had an honest discussion on their philosophies, on their opinions, don't be surprised at what happens when everything starts crumbling. If it does crumble, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. but you can start having the discussions now as a family, as a group of friends coming together, trying to come into one accord. Take the emotions out. If you can, try to eliminate the emotion. Try to eliminate that people are trying to bash you because it's not all about you. It has nothing to do with you. It's discussing where we are and where are we going. I have every faith. I believe in this young generation coming up that they're going to lead us in the right way, in the correct way, in the proper way. And if you haven't anything to do, Google the, the Senate, the Congress raided the Social Security twice during Bush's administration. Twice. With the understanding that they were going to pay the money back. The money wasn't there to take. It's the taxpayers' money. Google it. Find out. See what you find out. Because the issues are not the issues of abortion. The issue is not guns. The issue is not immigration. The issues are social services. The issues are infrastructure. What about the bridges? What about social programs? What about the veterans? What about the elderly? What about the children? What about education? What about mental health? What about homelessness? Those are the issues. What about Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare? Those are the issues. Those are your issues. Those are the true issues. So, 20 years. So, where will you be in 20 years? Which side of history are you going to be on in 20 years? It's going to be interesting with the elections coming up in November. It's going to be interesting today after the elections to find out who is going to be running against whom. It is going to be especially interesting to find out what happens in Georgia. But we have to be realistic. We have to be truthful that things have not changed. You still have, was it sunset laws, which means that if you are a certain race, a certain group, you cannot be out after dusk, after dark. And this is the 21st century. You still have individuals living without indoor plumbing. You still have children starving. But yet we're supposed to be a Christian nation. It's supposed to be Jesus-like, Christ-like. But I don't know what type of Christ you serve. It's not the type of Christ that I was raised with. Churches should be taxed. There should be term limits. To serve on the Supreme Court, to serve on any court, state Supreme Court, federal Supreme Court, you should have the experience and the tenure of having served as a practicing attorney, practicing judge before you're allowed to be on the state or the federal Supreme Court. Because just because you're an attorney does not make you a good judge. So there are a lot of changes that are going to have to be done. And you're going to have to make those hard decisions, whether or not it's liked or not. and it can be done. This next generation is wiser, it's more proactive. I have no fear. And whether or not I'm here comes up with something else. 20 years. 20 years. And we have to keep in mind again, there's only one race that is a human race. There are two Americans. You have a black American, you have a white America. It's always been that way. Change is going to come. Can't stop it. So, I appreciate y'all. I hope that I haven't, well, I hope that I have given you some thought. I hope I've given you some type of way to think, giving you the information. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you allowing me into your time. Appreciate you taking time with me. Y'all be safe out there. Check on the elderly, please. If you haven't talked to somebody that you love, if you haven't talked to your dad, your mom, if you haven't hugged your dad, your mom, give them a hug. Tell them how much you appreciate them. Tell the people that are in your life that means the most to you. Let them know how you feel about them. Appreciation goes a long way. You'd be surprised that when people know that they're appreciated and that they're loved, cannot imagine the power that they give them. Also, if you have a child, please make sure that you're active in that child's life. That if they have some type of program, if they have some type of game, if they have some type of activity, please go to those games. Please make sure that their child sees you, because you cannot imagine how much that means to that child to know that you're there. Time waits for no one. Understand that. Time waits for no one. And this is a time to give people their roses, to give people their acknowledgement, to give people the recognition now, because you never know what's going to happen. Know your value, know your worth, know you control everything about you. And most importantly, know that I love you more than I love my luggage. I will see y'all Wednesday. Y'all take care. The live stream on the show. On the show. The live stream. On the show. On the show. On the show. The live stream. The live stream on the show.